The Story of the Third War in Warcraft, narrated by Azeroth Archives. After their defeat in the Second War, the Old Horde's warchief, Ner'zhul, was captured by Kil'jaeden for his failure. As punishment, the Deceiver destroyed Ner'zhul's body and tortured his spirit until he agreed to serve the Legion once again. His soul encased in a suit of armor which was then bound to the frozen throne, Kil'jaeden hurled his creation towards Azeroth, where it smashed into Icecrown Glacier. Thus, the first major player of the Third War, the Lich King, was born. Once on Azeroth, the Lich King took control of Northrend, and he had the necromancer Kel'Thuzad take the plague of undeath to Lordaeron. Before the start of the war, the prophet Medivh came to the young Orcish warchief Frol in a dream. Medivh told him that he must rally the newly reformed shamanistic horde and move them across the sea to Kalimdor in order to escape the shadow that was coming to consume the land. Trusting the prophet's words and wishing to find a new home for his people, Frol listened to his call, fought his way through Lordaeron's troops, and sailed west. A rumor had started to travel around Lordaeron telling how a mysterious plague had gripped the northern lands, as the majority of Lordaeron's attention was focused on the Horde's flight and rebelling Orc clans. When Medivh appeared before King Terenas, telling him just as he told Frol, to save his people he must travel west, Terenas told him that he would defend his kingdom. To do so, he sent his own son, Arthas Menethil, who was dealing with the rebelling Orcs, with Sir Uther the Lightbringer north to investigate. Jaina Proudmoore from the Kirin Tor was sent from Dalaran to aid in the investigation. After joining Jaina Proudmoore, Prince Arthas discovered that Anderhal's granaries were wrought with a plague that killed all who are infected after they had encountered Kel'Thuzad in the town of Brill. Since Anderhal was the main distribution point for grain in the area, this meant that many other towns were in danger. As they fought their way through the infected city of Anderhal, they bore witness to a unique devastation like Azeroth had never seen. They hunted down and attacked Kel'Thuzad for his crimes against the people. The necromancer told Arthas that he served a greater power, a dreadlord named Mal'Ganis, and that he was responsible for the Scourge. Enraged, Arthas vowed he would kill Mal'Ganis, and they traveled to Stratholme to confront him after slaying the corrupted wizard. While in Hearthglen, Arthas and Jaina's forces were attacked by legions of undead. Arthas had Jaina search for Uther, while he and his forces remained to protect the town from the Scourge. It was then he learned the truth behind the plague. The plague didn't just kill those infected, it turned them into the undead and thus the Scourge. Before his army was defeated, Uther and his knights arrived and saved the town. Not long after this battle, Arthas was met by Medivh, who warned the prince to travel west to Kalimdor. Like his father, Arthas refused, saying his place was with his people. Jaina believed the prophet's words, but Arthas would not be swayed to leave his kingdom. They continued to Stratholme to deal with the threat of the Scourge. Upon arriving at Stratholme, they discovered that the grain had already been distributed amongst the townsfolk. Arthas, not wanting to deal with an entire army of undead, ordered Uther and his paladins to destroy the town. Uther was appalled by this, saying he wouldn't follow the order even if Arthas was the king. For his defiance, Arthas disbanded the Knights of the Silver Hand and called all those still loyal to Lordaeron to come with him. Uther took his followers and left, and Jaina quickly followed. Abandoned by his teacher and friend, Arthas continued to Stratholme to slaughter the town. Upon arrival, Arthas met Mal'Ganis himself. The two had a race of sorts for the lives of the town. Arthas wished to destroy them. Mal'Ganis wished to corrupt them. When the town was in ruin, Arthas demanded a final showdown with Mal'Ganis. Mal'Ganis, however, slipped away, vowing to meet him in Northrend. After the culling, Jaina and Uther returned to Stratholme to bury the dead. Jaina was met by Medivh, who told her Arthas would only die if he went to Northrend. The prophet then told Jaina, as he had told everyone else, that she must travel west to Kalimdor, a request she answered to. After Stratholme was purged, some former paladins, now called Death Lords, committed the same heinous act in many other cities across Lordaeron. After arriving in Northrend, Arthas joined forces with Muradin Bronzebeard, the brother of Dwarven King Magni Bronzebeard, whose expedition had been attacked by the undead and cut off from the rest of the world. Muradin had come to Northrend in search of the legendary runeblade Frostmourne. Together, Arthas and Muradin's armies established a camp and fought against the undead, wolves, strange human-wolverine hybrids, and ice trolls. When Arthas received orders from Lordaeron to return home, he hired mercenaries to burn his men's ships, leaving them stranded in Northrend. He then turned on the mercenaries and told his men that their only way home was to find Frostmourne. Upon discovering the blade, Arthas and Muradin learned of its curse. Arthas accepted the curse and claimed the sword, wounding and knocking Muradin unconscious in the process. With Frostmourne in hand, Arthas led an assault on the Scourge base, killing the dreadlord Mal'Ganis. Driven to madness, Arthas abandoned his men and fled into the wilderness of Northrend. Months later, Arthas returned to Lordaeron and, without hesitation, used Frostmourne to slay his father, King Terenas. He then declared himself the new king of Lordaeron and gave the land over to the Scourge. Under the Lich King's orders, Arthas, now a Death Knight, was tasked with resurrecting the necromancer Kel'Thuzad. To accomplish this, Arthas fought and killed his former mentor, Uther the Lightbringer, to obtain an urn containing his father's ashes. Arthas discarded the ashes and placed Kel'Thuzad's remains inside the urn. The only magical nexus powerful enough to revive Kel'Thuzad was the Sunwell, located in the heart of the high elven capital of Silvermoon. To reach the Sunwell, the Scourge would have to lay waste to the kingdom of Quel'Thalas. After reaching the borders of Quel'Thalas, the Ranger General Sylvanas Windrunner became a quick thorn in the Death Knight's plan. Despite the mighty elf gates, the destruction of an important bridge, and many well-trained rangers, the Scourge plowed their way through Quel'Thalas' defenses on their way to Silvermoon, and from there the Isle of Quel'Thalas and the Sunwell. Arthas eventually confronted Sylvanas. Frustrated at the harsh resistance she had given him, he charged her directly and the two did battle. The exhausted Ranger General was unable to match the power of Frostmourne and was cut down. As a last mockery, Arthas raised her as an undead banshee, binding her to his will and forcing her to battle her homeland in his name. With its defenses destroyed, the Scourge entered Silvermoon and slaughtered all the high elves in the city. When Arthas reached the Sunwell, he placed Kel'Thuzad's remains in the enchanted waters, thus turning him into a lich and corrupting the Sunwell. With his business in the area done, Arthas had the Scourge kill the remaining high elves of Quel'Thalas. With Kel'Thuzad revived, the Scourge was compelled to carry out the bidding of the Dreadlords. After annihilating the remaining forces of the Blackrock clan in the Alterac Mountains, the Scourge marched south to the magical city of Dalaran. Their objective was to secure the Book of Medivh, a powerful tome required to summon the demon lord Archimonde to Azeroth. Despite the Kirin Tor's valiant efforts to defend the city with their most potent magic, they were unable to thwart the Scourge's theft of the spellbook. Utilizing the Book of Medivh, Kel'Thuzad successfully summoned Archimonde and the Burning Legion to the world. Upon his arrival, Archimonde's immediate priority was to showcase his immense power by obliterating the city of Dalaran. From this moment forward, Archimonde assumed direct command of the Burning Legion's invasion of Azeroth. As the war progressed, the Demon Lord set his sights on gaining control over the second Well of Eternity hidden beneath the world tree Nordrassil. Following the destruction of Dalaran, Jaina Proudmoore led the remaining Alliance forces to Kalimdor, heeding Medivh's prophetic warning. Meanwhile, the Horde fleet, scattered by the turbulent waters near the Maelstrom, found themselves stranded on a chain of islands. There, the Orcs encountered the Darkspear tribe, forging an alliance and aiding the Trolls in their escape to Kalimdor. Grommash Hellscream, chieftain of the formidable Warsong clan, had already landed on Kalimdor with his warriors. Before they could reunite with Thrall and the rest of the Horde, they clashed with Jaina's soldiers, igniting a series of skirmishes. Driven by his innate bloodlust, Grom defied Thrall's direct orders and launched an attack on Jaina Proudmoore's encampment. As punishment for his insubordination, Grom was sent into the heart of the vast Ashenvale forest to gather lumber for the construction of an Orcish base. As Thrall searched for the remaining Horde forces, he encountered the noble Tauren and their wise leader, Cairn Bloodhoof. In exchange for Thrall's assistance in repelling invading centaurs, Cairn shared the knowledge of a powerful oracle residing in the Stone Talon Mountains who could guide the Horde on their journey. Upon reaching the Stone Talon Mountains, Thrall and Jaina met with the oracle, who was none other than Medivh, the prophet who had long ago foretold the coming doom. Medivh implored the Horde and the Alliance to set aside their ancient animosity and unite against a new, far more dangerous foe that threatened both factions. As ordered, Grom Hellscream and his clan began gathering lumber in Ashenvale Forest. However, their actions provoked the wrath of the Night Elves. After a series of clashes with the Night Elves, the demigod Cenarius personally intervened to confront the Warsong clan. Realizing that they could not defeat Cenarius through conventional means, and faced with the demigod's unwavering determination to eradicate the orcs, whom he perceived as demon spawn, Grom and his followers resorted to drinking from a mysterious fountain. Unbeknownst to them, the fountain had been tainted by the blood of the Pit Lord Mannoroth. Infused with fell energy, the Warsong orcs transformed into powerful fell orcs and successfully attacked and killed Cenarius. However, their victory came at a terrible price. Mannoroth appeared before Grom, revealing that it was his blood that had empowered the orcs, thus bringing them back under the control of the Burning Legion. To aid their new allies, Jaina created a magical soul gem. Thrall's task was to capture Grom within the gem and bring it to a prepared magical circle to purge his spirit of corruption. Standing in their way was the entire Warsong clan, bolstered by scores of demons waiting in ambush and powerful infernals raining from the sky. Despite the heavy toll of slaying many Warsong orcs, Thrall successfully captured Grom and brought him back for a cleansing ritual. With the combined efforts of Thrall's shamans, Jaina, and her most skilled priests and sorcerers, they managed to extract the demonic taint from Grom's soul. United once more, Thrall and Grom confronted Mannoroth in a final battle. Although Thrall was defeated, Grom landed a fatal blow on the Pit Lord, destroying Mannoroth and freeing the orcs from the Legion's control at the cost of his own life. Through this sacrifice, Grom redeemed himself for initially leading the orcs into the Legion's servitude. With the deaths of Cenarius and Mannoroth, Archimonde launched his invasion of Kalimdor, advancing from the southeastern region of Ashara into the heart of Ashenvale Forest. As the Burning Legion's return became evident, Tyrande led her sentinels into the sanctuary of the forests, escaping a relentless wave of undead that had ravaged a human and orc encampment. Despite their efforts, they found themselves surrounded by dreadlords and the formidable Archimonde. In the face of the Defiler's resurgence, Tyrande concluded that the only path to victory against the Burning Legion was to enlist the aid of ancient allies, the slumbering druids and their leader, Malfurion Stormrage, her ancient beloved. After rousing Malfurion from his long slumber, their next priority was to awaken the remaining druids of the Talon and the druids of the Claw. During their quest to liberate the druids, they stumbled upon the prison that confined the infamous demon hunter, Illidan Stormrage. Believing that the betrayer, as the Night Elves had come to call him, could prove to be a valuable asset against the Burning Legion, Tyrande made the decision to free Illidan while Malfurion continued on his mission to awaken the druids. However, the druids, having spent nearly 10 millennia in the caves, had succumbed to a feral state. It was only through the resonant call of the Horn of Cenarius that they were able to break free from the grip of madness. Tyrande pressed on in her mission to liberate Illidan, battling through the formidable defenses of the Warden's guards. Despite Malfurion's enduring mistrust of his impetuous brother, Tyrande placed her faith in Illidan, convinced that his power would prove invaluable against the Burning Legion. Determined to demonstrate his independence from the demon's influence, Illidan pledged to prove himself to his brother and assumed command of a contingent of the Night Elf army, leading them into the heart of Felwood. It was there that the Death Knight Arthas confronted Illidan, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. Evenly matched, Arthas had no compelling reason to prolong the confrontation. Instead, he demanded that Illidan reveal his purpose in Felwood. Arthas spoke of a powerful artifact known as the Skull of Gul'dan, attributing the corruption of the Night Elves' cherished forest to its malevolent influence. Preying upon Illidan's insatiable hunger for power, Arthas tantalizingly alluded to the immense might the skull possessed. Illidan, unable to resist the temptation, willingly took the bait. Fighting his way through the demonic hordes, Illidan finally reached the Skull of Gul'dan and consumed its power, merging it with his own. Empowered by this dark fusion, he confronted and vanquished Tichondrius, the leader of the Dreadlords, playing a crucial role in sealing the Legion's defeat. However, when Malfurion and Tyrande discovered the transformed Illidan, now a demonic night elf hybrid, Malfurion's response was one of absolute rejection. Denouncing Illidan's demonic corruption, Malfurion banished his brother, declaring, "You are no brother of mine." Consumed by resentment, Illidan tore through the lifeless trees, vanishing from sight. Following Illidan's banishment, Medivh summoned Malfurion and Tyrande to a secluded grove, where he had arranged a meeting with Thrall and Jaina. In a startling revelation, Medivh confessed his role in aiding the Burning Legion's creation of the Dark Portal, which had allowed the Horde to invade Azeroth. Having been slain for his transgressions, Medivh had returned to atone for his mistakes and safeguard Azeroth from the Legion's imminent return. He implored the mortal races to unite, emphasizing that only through their combined strength could they hope to vanquish the demonic threat. In preparation for the demon's onslaught, 3 camps were established around Mount Hyjal. Malfurion conceived a daring plan to harness the power of the World Tree itself to annihilate Archimonde. As he ascended the summit to make the necessary arrangements, Jaina and Thrall fortified their bases with the aid of the Night Elf warriors Tyrande could spare. Archimonde ruthlessly carved a path through the ranks of human knights, elven sentinels, and orcish warriors, ultimately breaching the defenses of both the human castle and the orc fortress. In a desperate bid for survival, Jaina managed to teleport a majority of the remaining troops to safety. Before narrowly escaping death himself, Thrall unleashed a bolt of shamanistic lightning upon Archimonde, a remarkable feat in its own right. With the 2 bases razed to the ground, Archimonde pressed forward, storming through the Night Elf gate that guarded the summit. As Archimonde reached the World Tree, Malfurion sounded the horn of Cenarius, summoning the ancient spirits of the surrounding area to assail the demon. In a cataclysmic instant, the spirits erupted in a massive explosion that consumed Archimonde, a significant portion of his demonic army, and the World Tree itself. The price for this momentous victory was the Night Elves' immortality, but with Archimonde's fall, the Third War had finally come to an end.
My powers wane as the throne grows weak. The cloak of the